The market has been crazy. Essentially, if we dive deep down into the Durham region, average house price in the Durham region is worth 1.1 million now. And that is essentially up 14% from December 2021 and 34% year over year from Jan 2021.
Definitely stay in line and stay tuned to what is going on in the market, because you can actually strategize and plan your investing strategy based on this and understand that like this is still increasing. The prices are still going up.
That's right. And we do have a slide on February 2022 predictions. We'll get to that. So people will have to stay tuned to see what that number is. And you want to stay and see what that number is.
What's going on YouTube? It's Rebecca Lynn Matheson here, aka the Canadian Cottage Girl, and I'm joined by Saman Habibi, and we are going to be talking all about the Oshawa real estate market. So really excited about this market because it has just been blowing up, and I cannot wait to hear what the latest and greatest updates are here. So welcome to the Canadian Real Estate Channel today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's always a pleasure having you on the channel and hearing all about Oshawa and what's going on in the Durham region. So let's jump right into it. I know you've prepared a little bit of a presentation, so let's hop right into those stats.
Absolutely. Let's jump right into it. Yeah, I would say, a great portion of the viewers on the channel are from the GTA, and every time we do these presentations, I do hop on a lot of phone calls with people just discussing the market, and seems like there's big hype around Oshawa and the Durham region, and I'm glad that we're doing this because I believe that people are getting a lot of value.
Oh, I would say so. And yeah, as we see some trends with people potentially moving out of the GTA, Oshawa is so close. It's still a very commutable area. So I'm really excited to see what's going on in the market, because I can definitely imagine that it's not slowing down.
No, it's not. And we'll just jump right into it. But essentially, just a quick overview. I want to talk about the Durham market, the Oshawa market. We'll do a quick comparison of Oshawa versus the rest of the Greater Toronto Area. We'll kind of touch on the Feb 2022 predictions. And, I also want to talk about the rental market update, because as investors are buying these properties at a premium, they want to know what the rental market's like. So
Right.
If we jump right into it, the market has been crazy. I feel like the narrative is very similar across the board, but essentially if we dive deep down into the Durham region, average house price in the Durham region is worth 1.1 million now. And that is essentially up 14% from December 2021 and 34% year over year from Jan 2021. I think what's really shocking here is the versus December number up 14%. I feel like essentially as soon as the new year came about, there was that talk about the interest rate hikes, the potential interest rate hikes announcement, which didn't happen, which, tells people that it is perhaps going to happen in the next few months, perhaps in March. As a result of that, we start seeing a lot of the panic buy. We start seeing people who were sitting on the sidelines saying, now we know that interest rate hikes are coming in March, perhaps. So let's jump back into the market. And that is coupled with, low inventory. So months of inventory is at an all-time low. And if we actually compare it to historical months of inventory trends, even if we go back and compare it to April of 2017, which is when the market in the GTA was at an all-time high again. The months of inventory in 2017 was at a 1.2 or 1.8. So we are even below that threshold, which really explains why the month over month from December 2021 to Jan 2022 is so high. And the same contrast is relevant in Oshawa. So Oshawa average house is worth 1,020,000 in Jan 2022. That's up 12% from December 2021 and 39% from January of 2021. So, like I said, the market is very hot right now. I think the key takeaway here is that if you own an investment property, this would be a great time to try and line up your refinance to try and access the equity that you have built in the property. Or if you want to, look at other properties, deploy the cash elsewhere, this would be a really good time to consider selling. And if anyone is in that boat, if anyone wants to talk about a refinance or potentially selling their property, my link is below where people can schedule a call with me and we can talk about these options as well.
Love that. Yeah, seeing numbers like 34% year over year is just wild. Like I remember doing a little video on Oshawa and Durham region, like probably a year ago now, and it was still just as wild. Like seeing a market appreciate 34% is significant. Like that is unheard of. And then even being up 14% from December, guys, it's February when we're recording this. So to be up that much just in basically like a month's time is crazy. That is so crazy. So like definitely stay in line and stay tuned to what is going on in the market, because you can actually strategize and plan your investing strategy based on this and understand that like this is still increasing. The prices are still going up.
That's right. And we do have a slide on February 2022 predictions. We'll get to that. So people will have to stay tuned to see what that number is. And you want to stay and see what that number is. So in this slide, what I want to show people is that if we look at the Durham region, we have Ajax, Brock, Clarington, Oshawa, Pickering, Scugog, Uxbridge, and Whitby. And if you actually notice, everything is over $1 million now. So
wow.
The stragglers used to be Brock and the Scugog area, but now they've even caught up to Oshawa and averaging over $1 million. And actually, Brock has had probably the highest jump since the last time that we've done a video.
So crazy.
Yeah. In terms of what is best bang for your buck in terms of end user and even investor. So we know that average prices are exceeding $1 million, but if people want to get into the market, in my opinion, the best way to do so is to look at the semi-detached properties, the townhouses or the condo townhouses, as they're still sub 1 million. And, if you're lucky, some of these semi-detached properties and end unit townhomes do still give you the option of having a separate entrance where you can try and create an income suite in the basement. I've got my clients into semi-detached properties, and sure, the basement is of a smaller unit, typically a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, but you're still able to bring in anywhere from $1,100 to $1,400 a month rental income for a 1-bedroom semi in the basement.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good pro tip there, because a lot of these semi-detached units are actually quite spacious still. Like you can actually still do a lot with them. And in terms of price point, definitely as an investor, you're looking always for that ROI. And it looks like these price points still yield some sort of return here.
Yeah, I mean, if you are essentially comparing from a square footage perspective, a semi is going to give you just a bit more square footage than the traditional town bungalow that investors purchase, right? Yeah. So what that means is that more square footage means that you can charge a premium for your upper unit rental. So if you're looking at comparing rental income from a semi versus a bungalow, it's pretty much in line, but you're going to be getting a better purchase price.
Got it.
In this slide, what we like to do is kind of give people a perspective of, where Oshawa is in proximity to some of the other towns and cities in the GTA, and we kind of do a price analysis and a sensitivity analysis. So if we look at Oshawa average price in Oshawa is $1,020,000. If we kind of compare that to the next closest town or city, that would be Scarborough at 1.1 million. And if you just look in the surrounding areas, Vaughan, we got 1.5 million, Mississauga 1.153, Oakville 1.8, Burlington 1.3. Essentially, the ripple effect that we've seen in Oshawa is the Scarborough market. So typically, whatever happens in Scarborough trickles over to Durham Region, starting in Pickering and working its way to Oshawa. So my prediction would be that sooner than later, we will be in line and catching up to the prices that we see on this sheet. So, hitting 1.1 is not going to be unrealistic, and exceeding that won't be unrealistic either. And the other thing to keep in mind is that if we look at these cities situated along Lake Ontario, we are still by far the cheapest in the Greater Toronto Area. So I know that a lot of people are now buying homes very close to the lake, and essentially they're buying these homes that they'll tear down and build their dream home on, and they have the flexibility of being very close to the water and essentially enjoying the area that it has to present.
Right.
So here's a Feb 2022 prediction. So as of yesterday, there was 114 units sold in Oshawa, and this is just Oshawa, and we can already see that the average price is above the $1,020,000 that we reviewed for Jan 2022. So we're already exceeding the 1.1 million. And if we look at the median number, it's slightly lower, but it gives us a better and a more accurate picture of the price, because it's essentially eliminating outliers of the very low and the very high prices. So as of right now, we've exceeded the 1.1 million. So I guess the message here is that if you bought in January or if you bought in December, you already have built-in equity in your property.
Or if you bought 2 years ago, you're just flying.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And again, I think this really should drive the point to people that if you bought in the last year, the last 2 years, now would be a really good time to try and discuss those refinance strategies with your mortgage broker.
Right.
So prices are high. What does that mean for investors in terms of rental opportunities? So here I have I've pulled two similar properties for rental income. So if you can see, they're both 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom. One's located in the McLaughlin neighborhood. One's located in the Donovan neighborhood. And essentially, one is bringing in $2,500 a month, and the other $2,350. And these are, plus utilities and hydro. So this is a really good and comfortable figure for people to have in mind, because as we start, hitting the 1 million, the 1.1 million, we need to make sure rental rates are increasing in line. Last year, these numbers would have been 22, 23. So we're seeing a slight bump in rental income. And I just want to note to people that these figures are based on a very nice turnkey property, right? So if you want to attract top quality tenants, you need to have a turnkey picturesque property that's going to attract good tenants as well. So that's important for people to keep in mind if they're buying properties and they're considering whether they need to do certain renovations or not. And for me, typically the answer is yes, because we are seeing the market appreciate. You are going to see a return on your investment, and as a result, you're going to attract better quality tenants, and as a result, higher rents.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
in contrast, if we look at lower units, we're seeing the same thing. So we're seeing lower units going anywhere from $2,000 to $1,900, anywhere in that range. Again, these are plus utilities and hydro, and these are also renovated properties as well. So if we kind of look at upper and lower units, we're exceeding $4,000 a month, and sometimes even hitting as high as $4,500 a month. It's not abnormal for an upper unit to hit anywhere from $2,500 to $2,800 a month. I think it's really dependent on what time of the month you put it up, what the market's like at that point in time. But it's, in my opinion, it's comforting to see that, yes, prices are going up, but rental rates are also increasing in line.
And what is the type of demand right now in Oshawa for rentals?
So essentially, what I'm noticing is that a lot of investors, not investors that we work with, but what I'm noticing on MLS is that there's a lot of inventory available on the MLS. So if I was to do a search today, there would probably be around 50 rentals on the market on MLS. We've personally found that we don't have a lot of luck by putting properties on the MLS. We like to go the untraditional route and have it on Facebook Marketplace, where we believe that there's a lot more traffic. Essentially, the end user, the person looking to lease a property for themselves, in my opinion, they're more active, and they're more active on looking on certain groups like Facebook Marketplace, to try and find properties for themselves. So when we put up properties for lease, we're getting anywhere between 30 to 50 messages on a property, and out of the 30, 50, I would say 50% of them are serious buyers, and they're asking more questions than, is this property available?
Mm-hmm.
And out of that 50%, I would say 50% have really good applications that we consider. So the demand is still high. As market increases, it's becoming a bit more difficult for certain people to purchase properties, and as a result, some people just want to wait and see what happens, and they're okay renting for a year. At the same time, we also have people who are capitalizing on their properties, selling them at a premium, and they're just okay with renting and living somewhere until they decide what they like to do next. So, and in terms of tenant profile, I've had a retired couple who recently, capitalized on their house, and they're just looking to rent. And I also have, young couples who are professionals and both have good full-time jobs, but not really sure whether they want to buy here, whether they want to go to Toronto and buy a condo, let's say. So they're just trying to wait and see what happens, but they still want to have their own privacy and their own place to live.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, especially with people who have sold their property if they haven't necessarily lined up a place right away or don't intend to after capitalizing on equity in their home from the sale. Renting is an option that a lot of people are turning to right now. Another thing that you mentioned there that I don't think a lot of people realize is that you can actually find rentals on the MLS. Most people just look to that as a place to buy, but there are rental listings on the MLS. Now, I would say from just like boots on the ground more traditionally, most people actually turn to places like Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji, just because that's where, if you're looking for a rental, that's where you think you're going to find it. So definitely taking a look at places like the MLS is another great way to just diversify and make sure that you're actually hitting all of the potential rental listings.
Yeah, and I would say if you're an investor and you have a property in the Durham region, there is a Facebook group, a private Facebook group with around 15,000 active people who are either investors listing their properties or potential tenants looking for property. So if anyone wants access to that, they can message me, and I'll get them in that group. And it's a very strong and powerful group to be part of, especially if you have investment properties, and it's worked wonders for us.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love those sorts of communities on Facebook. I think that like a lot can happen from those sorts of communities when everyone's just collectively working towards a common goal, and you have both investors and renters who are right in the same sort of space and regularly interacting. So I think that those sorts of spaces are really important. Also, what is the process if somebody did want to work with a realtor to list a rental property? Because that's something that I think a lot of people, again, don't really think about. So is there a cost associated with it? Does a realtor like do all of the showings, or typically is it just a property manager that does that? What is the process if it's being listed on the MLS as a lease?
I think it's very dependent on the comfort level of the investor, whether they want to be hands-on or hands-off. If they want to be hands-on, I wouldn't recommend the MLS. I would recommend going more so the Facebook groups or the Facebook marketplace route. If they want to be completely hands-off, of course, there's the option of putting it on the MLS. Typically, there's a fee of 1 month's rent that is taken to essentially manage this whole process. And managing the process means getting it on the MLS, vetting the potential tenant that's coming in, doing the reference checks, so on and so forth. That is an option. And then the second option, of course, if you want to be hands-off, would be to essentially hand it off to a property management company that specializes in the region and who knows the areas and the tenant profile in the area. And they typically charge, what I've noticed is 1 month's rent as well here. So I would say there are options, but in my opinion, as an investor myself, I do like to be hands-on for a couple of reasons. One, to really understand how the property management process works, but two, also really vetting the tenant and making sure that whoever is coming into my property is someone that I trust, someone that I have a good relationship with, someone that I can call if there's any problems, or they have the comfort level to call me if they have any problems. So, which I find, although I'm a realtor, I find that connection isn't there when it comes to leasing a property for investors. So I would really encourage people, if they have the capability, if they have the time, to try and learn that process themselves and try and manage it themselves at least once or twice. And then once they're comfortable with it, they can pass that off to a property management company.
Love that.
Awesome. Well, that's essentially the summary of the presentation. I think the key takeaway is that market is increasing. We see that February is exceeding January number, and I would expect that trend to kind of continue month over month. So if you're in the market and you are looking to get in, I would say sooner the better. I know I said this in one of the last videos and I got crushed in the comments because I'm a realtor telling people to buy, but hey, the numbers speak for themselves, and I think if you're in the market, you need to get in before things start to really get out of hand.
Yeah, I think hindsight's always 20/20, and I think you can always look back and say, I was encouraged to buy 2 years ago and still didn't. So there's never necessarily the right time or the wrong time. It's more about the time in the market and actually just strategizing based off of what is currently happening and just making sure that your investing strategy actually aligns with the market that you're in, and your long-term goals are also aligned with the investing strategy that you're using. So thank you so much for coming on today to the Canadian Real Estate Channel. Now, what is the best place for people to reach you?
Yeah, best place is to contact me on Instagram if you want to have quick conversations about a certain property or what's going on in the market. Saman Habibi _real estate. Or if people would like to schedule a call with me, the link will be below, and I'm more than happy to jump on a 15-30 minute call just to talk about strategy and if the Oshawa market is one that works for you.
Awesome. Well, Saman, thank you so much for joining today on the channel. And guys, make sure you throw a comment into the comment section below if you enjoyed today's video or have any questions as well. Hit Saman up on Instagram and also join his Facebook page. It sounds like he's connecting a bunch of investors with the actual renters as well. So make sure you hit him up for that if you're interested, and smash the like button and make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already. Guys, thanks again for tuning in today, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Thank you.